you participating here in our meeting. And so we'll make some other comments afterwards, and Ellen's actually going to handle the introductions after Sherry does her prayer. So Sherry, take it away.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a joy to see you all and to meet you. So if you just join me in an attitude of prayer. O Holy One of many names, thank you for your love and grace, which is offered freely. Bless this time as we learn and grow together in our commitment and capacity to connect people and food. For peace will come when people are fed. Bless our work. Amen.
Welcome, everyone. I would like to start with who is in the Interfaith Hunger Coalition tonight. So would you introduce yourself, Joy? Who you are and what faith congregation you're affiliated with, or what group?
I'm Joy Denaro, and I work at Immaculate Conception Church downtown.
Very good, thank you. Judy, you're next.
Hi, I'm Judy Messel, and I go to All Saints Lutheran Church, and I also volunteer with Lutheran Advocacy Ministry.
Thank you. Kathy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Fries. I'm the Director for Community Involvement at Catholic Charities, and I attend Holy Rosary Catholic Church.
Catherine.
Hi, I'm Catherine Arndt, and I no longer live in Albuquerque, but I'm still very interested in hunger. I am part of a place called Munger Place, which is predominantly Methodist, and am seeing the need for major hunger initiatives in Dallas. They are the third highest rate of child poverty in the country.
My goodness, thank you. Brenda.
Hi, I'm Brenda Sinfield, and I'm with First Presbyterian Church on the Mission Committee, and I work on Interfaith Hunger.
Thank you. Eddie.
Hi, I'm Betty, and I'm in the Interfaith Hunger Coalition Education Committee and belong to Chavurat HaMidbar and Congregation Albert.
Thank you. Ari.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ari Herring. I'm the Executive Director at Rio Grande Food Project. We are a food pantry, urban garden, and community hub on the west side of Albuquerque. It's nice to be with you all.
Thank you. Jason.
Good evening. I'm Jason Riggs, and I am with Roadrunner Food Bank.
Thank you. Andy.
Hi, I'm Andy Brayman. I'm a community school coordinator with the Downtown Community School Collaborative, which is 3 Title I schools in downtown Albuquerque, the Wallace, Longfellow, and Eugene Field Elementary Community Schools. And my cohort, Melanie, will probably be on in a little bit.
Thank you, Andy. Jane.
Hi, I'm Jane Braithwaite. I'm the policy coordinator for Representative Stansbury. And I wish I could explain the legislature to you. It would take too long, what little I do know. But basically, Representative Stansbury tabled the hunger bill to protect it. And it's still alive, even though it's not moving the way we would expect, but she's really doing her best, as we all know. And I'm LDS, and I'm a member of the Albuquerque East Stake.
Thank you. Betsy.
I'm freelancing tonight. We're in transition with people that are going to work on hunger, but I am from La Mesa Presbyterian Church. I'm a deacon there.
Thank you. Eric.
Yeah, hi, I'm Eric N. Faith Community is Immaculate Conception, and I teach at the University of New Mexico.
Miss Hawkins. Jody.
There we go. Dodie Hawkins, I represent the New Mexico Conference, United Methodist Women, and my faith community is Central United Methodist.
Okay, thank you very much. Carlos, do you want to introduce our speakers for tonight?
Well, I'll let them introduce themselves. I don't have a lot of information on them except that they are both co-founders of Food is Free. And so I'll turn it all over to Trista, who was the first person that I talked to, then Erin. Go ahead, Trista.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us. I'm Trista Teeter, and I'm the managing director at Food is Free Albuquerque. And that's about it, really. We'll get into our story here in a minute. So go ahead, Erin.
Hi, so I'm Erin. I'm the executive director of Food is Free Albuquerque. And we're really excited to be here, and we really appreciate the invite. And this is just really exciting. So thank you.
And we're going to watch the video, and Erin's featured in this video. Okay, did we miss anyone? Well, Sherry, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. So I'm Sherry Lyon, pastor of El Poblito United Methodist Church in Taos. And there are two primary food pantries in Taos. One, St. James Episcopal, and the other at Shared Table. Together, we run a combined sort of system of food pantry. We partner with the Food Depot out of Santa Fe. And so Shared Table in particular serves about 300 households every 2 weeks, and St. James about 600 households every week. We work really closely with local farmers and agriculture to try to make a connection from farm to table as well through the food bank. So we are very pleased to be included in the conversation.
Thank you. And for those of you who saw our World Food Day video, Sherry did a marvelous piece on her operation up in Taos. So if you haven't watched the World Food Day video, go back and watch it again. The other thing, just a couple more things. If you have questions for about anything from our presenters, just write them in the chat. Kathy is going to be managing the chat. She'll ask the questions. That way it'll be an orderly process. And the other thing, we were talking about legislation a second ago. So I asked Judy, who's been involved with our legislative process, to just offer us a brief presentation of what's occurred thus far. And maybe Jane can add a couple of things if there's anything relevant. You're on mute, Judy.
Sorry. We just heard from Brenda about the emergency, the food bank bills. So I won't go over that. There were two. One was the House Bill 132 and Senate Bill 370, the $5 million for food banks to purchase non-perishables. And that's what is on hold until we know more about the federal funding, I believe is what you said. There's also House Bill 133, the College Hunger Reduction Pilot Program. And this is sponsored by Representatives Ferrari, Bash, and Stansbury. And it's the $100,000 to set up this project to reduce, a pilot project to reduce hunger on campuses. And the House Agriculture, Water, and Water Resources Committee gave it a due pass. And it's my understanding it's in the House Appropriations now committee. 207, Jane talked a bit about that. This is the Food, Hunger, and Farm Bill, a very visionary, transformative, has the potential to really transform the way we address hunger and develop more resilient agriculture in this state with better in-state marketing. The sponsors are Representative Stansbury, Ferrari, and Bash, and Senator Stefanik. I don't know how much detail you would like me to go into on that, but I'll just say it's a comprehensive multi-agency approach to planning and coordination so that we can address hunger and promote state food and agricultural products there will be forming from it a food hunger and farm council with an annual strategic plan. The first one would be submitted in December of 2022. It got a due pass on the substitute bill, and my understanding is that legislators can put their allocations from the junior bill toward that, and that Secretary Scrace is very excited to get started on this. So we may see some action fairly soon, although the full bill was not going forward. And probably will be reintroduced, do you think next year, Jane?
I would hope. I think it still has a potential of something happening this legislative session, but things are up in the air. By the way, you just did a very good description of the bill. Thank you. We don't know. Things are, I'm not all knowledgeable. This is just my third session, but it's the most frustrating session I've ever watched because there, things you think are going to happen don't happen, and it's interesting. So
yeah,
let's just keep trying because it's such a needed thing in this state. And one of the big issues is our agencies have not come back up to the level of people working in them that are needed. They were cut back so significantly during the Martinez administration. And when you put in things that are going to require work from the agencies, you run into roadblocks sometimes. So.
Thank you very much. But I guess we could be asking our representatives if they would give at least a portion of their junior bill allocations to that.
Definitely, that is the hope. Representative Stansbury is putting her junior monies. Representative Ferrari is putting part of hers, and so if they can build up, a pot, that would be lovely.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. And then there's House Bill 243, sponsored by Representative Gail Armstrong. And this is the Farmers Market Double Up Food Bucks program. $500,000 to enhance the buying power of seniors or SNAP participants to buy fresh produce in farmers markets. And I think it's been amended to include other kinds of vendors that are similar to farmers markets, farmer stands on the sides of roads and that sort of thing. It got a due pass from the House Agriculture and Water Resources Committee, and I believe it's also in House Appropriations and Finance. And then the final one is SB 229, the Healthy Foods Financing Act, sponsored by Representatives Carrie Hamblin, and Angelica Rubio. And this is $200,000 for a healthy food financing program. It would be administered by the Economic Development Program, and it would give grants and loans to support projects that make healthy foods more available throughout the state. And it would be, of course, working with unserved low to moderate income communities. It got a due pass from Senate Tax, Business and Transportation Committee, and now is in Senate Finance, as far as I know. So that's what I have tonight on bills relating to hunger.
And one final thing is we're going to be asking legislators from both chambers to be participate in the Legislative Hunger Caucus, which Representative Ferrari is coordinating. We had a meeting at the very beginning, and the reason I mentioned that meeting is because Representative Cristina Ortiz was part of that, and that's your legislator, Sherry. We just don't want to clutter things at this point because of the actual legislation that's happening. But in the off session, we're gonna be asking for legislators to participate in the Legislative Hunger Caucus, which in the future might take on some of these issues. And so anyway, that's the way it is. Okay, well, let's get started. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share a screen and show the video. So bear with me a second. And a second. Okay, now I can see the screen. Okay, I need to. Can everyone see that? I haven't started playing it.
Food is free. Food is Free Albuquerque began in the summer of 2014 during an apple harvest for 2 families. The organization's founders discovered an unexpected problem within the community, an abundance of privately owned fruit trees laden with unused fruit. A choice was made: harvest the fruit and give it away. Since then, Food is Free Albuquerque has successfully partnered with private homeowners, local farms, and orchardists. Each growing season, the list of partnerships grows along with the amount of rescued food. These connections have helped us distribute over 20,000 pounds of locally grown, human edible food in the community. The organization's distribution network began as boxes at bus stops, but has grown through local partnerships. Distributors work diligently to practice mindful distribution. This practice seeks to ensure the amounts given are manageable for each organization. Food is Free Albuquerque believes fresh food is a human right and no person should go hungry. Our mission is to utilize the abundance growing here in our own community.
Our harvesting program has been the support of homeowners and local farms that invite us in to harvest their excess. And this support has translated to being able to donate food to multiple different organizations within the city that feed people. The biggest challenge that we face is logistics. Peaches are ready when peaches are ready. They are not ready because we say we need them to be. So scheduling harvests with 24 to 48 hours notice can be very difficult to garner the volunteers and the lead harvesters needed. I see Food is Free Albuquerque harvesting well over 50% of what's available here in our local community. And I also see it growing into a statewide organization, which would be taking it into other cities in New Mexico to replicate the project in other cities to provide fresh food for people. We believe that fresh food is a human right, and we want to see that spread throughout our state.
Okay, take it away, Trista and Erin.
Sounds good. Let me share my screen and we'll get our presentation up here. There we go. Alrighty. I'm gonna let Erin go ahead and take us away.
All right, so Food is Free Albuquerque, we started in 2014. Trista and I were both homeschooling our children at the time, and we were both learning how to can and preserve food, and we were really passionate about it. And we had seen fruit trees growing around town, and we said, well, why don't we just go see if we can get it for free? So we put up a Craigslist ad, and that Craigslist ad garnered about 10 responses. And being the ambitious bees that we tend to be, we scheduled every single one of them. And the first tree, we garnered over 200 pounds of apples. And I'm not very good at math, but I can do really good apple math. And that was going to be way too much fruit than our 2 families needed. And so, being inspired by the international organization called the Food is Free Project, we began Food is Free Albuquerque, and we started giving the food away. And we have never canned again. Could switch the slide. So fresh food is a human right. everybody should have access to fresh food. We live in a country where we can see the abundance all around us. And so there's no reason that anybody should be going hungry. So our motto is to encourage the social empowerment through growing and sharing of fresh food. And this translates to harvesting, gardening, giving away seeds, the entire growing process in our community.
I don't think we have to tell any of you guys, that, all the statistics about New Mexico's food insecurity. We're consistently ranked in the top 5 states for food insecurity. And of course, these are 2017, 2018 numbers. And so during the pandemic, we know that these numbers were much worse. Again, more statistics, almost 20% of our population lives in poverty. And then the food waste facts that really speak to us are that, if food waste for a country, it'd be the world's 3rd largest greenhouse emissions emitter. We have over 7 billion people on the planet, of which 925 million are starving. Yet annually, we lose and waste 1.3 billion pounds of food, or enough to feed 3 billion people. That's kind of where our vision comes in. We want to feed everybody. No big feat, I know. So we're really curious as to how much food there is growing in Albuquerque, and we're on a mission to harvest it all and make sure that it gets distributed. And then some of our
vision.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say our vision too is not just for us to feed people, it's for people to feed themselves. We want to see the food that's being wasted, we want to see that utilized and put into our community to help solve the social problems that we're seeing on a day-to-day basis. And so that's where our programming has been created. And so we have harvest and distribution, seed distribution, a very brand new thing that we have chosen to call pop-up programs, community food forests, and tree mapping. So the first one, we've kind of covered it, which is harvest and distribution. So private homeowners and orchardists will call us. They'll call us and they'll say that they have an abundance of insert the food, and we'll go out with the volunteers and we harvest it. Anything that is not human edible is also harvested, and it is taken to farms to feed to animals or to put into compost. We want to put that food waste back into the food system to create soil or to feed people or to feed the animals. Nothing goes to waste. And we did over 14,000 pounds in 2019. And I mean, every year we have more than doubled our numbers, except for last year, because last year was a little bit different. But we've been getting the word out. And so we have a very wide network of homeowners, private orchardists, and farmers who are inviting us in and inviting our volunteers and our families to come in and do this work.
And
our next one is,
I was just gonna add that this is our main program. Like, it takes up about half of our year, but because obviously we can't harvest year round, then we have a lot of other programs as well and projects.
So our next program is seed distribution. Every year, this is our 5th year, we have hosted a seed share. I don't know if anybody here has heard of a seed swap, but the standard operating procedure for a seed swap is it's a 1-for-1. You bring seeds and you trade them with other people. Our model is, if you have seeds, bring them. If you need seeds, come and get them. There are no limits to how many seeds people can take at typical seed shares. The community members come in and there's so much knowledge. There's just this wealth of knowledge to be shared at these events to encourage people to just start growing, even if it's just one tomato plant at a time. We don't need 20 acres of squash. We just need to start with one tomato plant. And that's what our seed share does. If you want to have a big garden, or just start. And we use that model to really encourage people and to offer support, because gardening is hard. I'm not very good at it. And to be able to provide that for our community and provide it year round, you know, so people will reach out to us with questions, and we're always more than happy to either answer their questions or use our network and get them to the help that they need. So that's, I mean, that's our seed distribution. And then we give away seeds to various organizations and individuals throughout the entire year, which has been really just a blessing. And so our next one on the list, I'll have Trista switch the slide, is our pop-up projects. So we just recently named this, and it's because our entire organization has been built upon being flexible and being creative. And we for instance, we started harvesting with cardboard boxes. That doesn't work because fruit doesn't really go well, especially when it's all wet and squishy. And so we've had to learn and evolve as we go. So our pop-up projects are these projects that come into our field that everything really comes together really well, and we think it's exciting, and we know that we can do it, and we can do it well. 2 years ago, we did an accessible garden for a gentleman. I work with his cousin on events, and we were put in touch, and my employer at the time was very excited to support a project like this, and we all came together and we laid pavers in his yard and put in raised beds so that he could access his garden area with his wheelchair, and he could have access to the whole yard. And it's still like one of the most amazing things to get to watch grow. He's always growing new things, and he's always trying new things. And to get to be a part of that, to get to see him and go over for barbecues outside of COVID has just really been such a cool thing. And that's where the gift of growing came in. When the pandemic lockdown first started, our group being very sociable, we weren't quite sure what to do. And my husband and I began building boxes, garden boxes, out of pallets in the garage. And I felt really good about it. And we wanted to share this. And we did. And the public really, really loved it. And we also tapped into a need. And we had thousands of signups for seeds, garden pots, garden boxes, self-watering buckets. It was supposed to just be a small thing, and it turned out to be a really big thing. And we went from having boxes made out of pallets to boxes made out of proper lumber and with straight lines, because I was no longer cutting the wood. So they were beautiful and wonderful. And then it morphed into the Bosque School seniors were having a very difficult time coping with the fact that their graduation and their senior project wasn't going to look like they thought it would. And so we connected with some other people in our network, and we came up with the Bosque boxes, and we created prefabbed boxes. So they were already cut with the holes drilled with a pamphlet of instructions, so the seniors could put them together themselves at their homes, and they had the option to keep them, to give them away to somebody that they chose, or they could give them back into the organization, and we would gift that gift from the Bosque seniors to other organizations. And most of the seniors did choose that, And they actually went above and beyond for us, and they painted us these beautiful works of art to put into the community. And they were bright and vibrant and wonderful. And because of that, we were able to gift, an entire, basically the entire setup of a garden to Crossroads for Women. We donated several boxes and pots and dirt and plants and everything they needed to get started. We were also invited by Senator Heinrich to go to Alamo Pueblo, and we did the same thing. We were able to give boxes and soil and trees and plants and seeds, which created a guild and a truck. If anybody here doesn't know what a guild is in permaculture, you've got these, areas, like you've got an apple guild and a walnut tree guild, and all these things work collaboratively together in that space to create the whole scheme. And we were gifted a grant that allowed us to buy this super amazing truck. And so we can fit all of that into the back of our truck. So we can work with organizations if they're interested in starting a project. We can load everything up and we can deliver it. And it's almost instant success for everybody because all the resources are there to get started. And we did book donations. We actually worked with Ari at Rio Grande Food Project. And so this is a great example of being flexible. This past year, there were a lot of stories that came forward. And so that was something that was just, really just in my mind. And so I suggested that, food is free. Maybe we get some books and we give away, I was thinking like maybe between 30 and 50 books was the number in my head. And we wanted to gift the guests at Rio Grande Food Project with these books. And I contacted Ari, and she put us into contact with Libros for Kids. I think I got that right. I think I remembered it correctly. And we were able to gift over 300 children's books instead of just 30 or 50. And we wrapped them all in Christmas paper and we gave them out to the guests while they were getting their food boxes. And it was just the coolest thing. And so the pop-up projects, the thought behind it is to be creative and fluid and listening to our community and listening to ourselves and, and just creating really beautiful, wonderful things out of that. And so that's our pop-up projects. And I'm obviously very, very excited about this.
The other book donations we were able to do were, we were able to purchase a bunch, like 50 of them from the Master Gardeners, the Down to Earth, a guide to gardening in Albuquerque. And we put them in the free little libraries all throughout town. And basically the idea is, make it available to anybody and everybody, but also like write in those books, write your knowledge that you have from gardening and then put it back and give it to the next person who will then write what they have learned. And so just really building that sense of community and making that knowledge accessible. The other projects that we have going on are community food forests. So this is something we've been pushing for several years now. And, it's kind of hard to find a plot in the community where somebody will say, yeah, just come in and build a forest. So we've been really working on it. And we've found a couple of partners, and the basic concept is, that we'd like to see is each community have access to a community food forest. So instead of having a vacant lot in your community, there would be fruit trees, there'd be fruit, berry bushes, there'd be pollinators, there'd be all of these things that would draw the community in, but also provide food. So yeah, that's our goal with that. And then tree mapping is another project we've partnered with Tree New Mexico, and they were able to get us a grant to pay for tree plotter for our very own license. And what we do is for all of the trees that we harvest, we, with the permission of, of the homeowner, then we will go in and put all the trees information into tree plotter. And then we also have a form that we put out there for anybody to fill out. If you have a fruit tree, we encourage you to fill it out. The whole goal in this is, one, to map our canopy, which is what Tree New Mexico is doing, because our tree canopy is not producing the way that it should, reproducing. So the amount that we have in our city is actually decreasing, which is leading to desertification, and our city will get hotter. And so, that's one reason why we're encouraging the food forests and people to plant fruit trees, obviously. But we've done a little bit of back of the envelope math, and our quick calculation is that if 10% of homeowners grew 100 pounds of fruit, which is, that's a small apple tree, it's not a lot, then our city produces approximately 2 million pounds of fruit annually. And so it's our goal to be able to utilize as much as we can and get that to the people who need it the most.
And I would like to pop into about this, which I mentioned earlier about logistics. And to be able to use tree plotter, we will also be able to identify bumper crops, because some years the South Valley will have bumper crops, other years the North Valley, but very, very rarely are we in the same city quadrant each season. It moves. So as we collect more data on this, we will be able to see and anticipate where those bumper crops are going to occur. We have trees that we've been harvesting this entire time from the very beginning. And I would actually say that, I could probably guess. I could probably have about a 90% accuracy on which trees I think will have bumper crops this year. And so, but this will make it easier, because then it doesn't have to live just inside of my brain. And we will be able to focus volunteers. We will be able to focus energy and into those areas to make sure that we are getting that fruit out and getting it put back into the community. And so that's one thing I am so excited about. This is in 5 years, what we'll be able to see and how that's just going to completely reshape our harvest program. Because that's been one of the most difficult things about being gleaners, is it's very, like I said, it's very logistical. It's all logistics, and they change and they flow, and we have to be flexible. So I have high hopes for this tree mapping, and I think that it's really going to change a lot about our organization, and it's going to change a lot of things for our community.
I will say too that I'm just kind of zoomed in on our area, but we do harvest outside the area. We try and get the, we try and get the fruit wherever we can, and then keep it in the area. So for example, Erin will go harvest in Santa Fe, and then she keeps the food as much as she can in Santa Fe, so that it's going back to the community where it came from. And it looks like there's not a ton of fruit trees mapped here, but I will tell you that as of today, there are 466 fruit trees mapped. That's pretty cool.
So exciting. So we get this question, as I'm sure everybody here does, and how can I help? So you can sign up on our website. We have a volunteer form. Right now with COVID, we are still figuring out how to work. We had a brand new volunteer system, and we were so excited going into 2020, and then COVID turned us all on our heads. But we are looking for lead harvesters, and we'll train lead harvesters, and so they would be the point of contact for the farmer, for the homeowner, for the orchardist. They would help train the volunteers and help the volunteers, and support our volunteers, because we invite everybody to come harvest, whether they're going to harvest or not, because everybody's presence is needed and wanted. We have a lot of moms who come and harvest with us with their little ones, and it's just the most wonderful thing to have those littles out there. And so it's not just about doing the work, it's also about, really bonding with our community and getting to know one another, and creating really long-lasting relationships. And then as far as organizations go, we partner with a lot of different organizations in a lot of different ways. And we're always happy to sit down and listen to ideas and, dream for the moon, and, figure out how we can work together so that we're all benefiting the community if we're working together.
I will say too that we didn't talk very much about our mindful distribution, and that when we give out the fruit and the food that we have, then we try to make sure never to overwhelm an organization with more than they can handle, because we don't want to be, we don't want to make it more difficult for the organizations trying to feed people, and we don't want that food to go to waste. So if any of your organizations, if you're interested in partnering with us to possibly receive some of the harvest, then you can shoot us an email, and I'll put that in the chat here in a minute.
And when you send us a thing and you add your organization, how it works is, like I said earlier, peaches are ready when they're ready, not because I want them, I put them on the calendar. And so when we do have a harvest, I go through the list, and if I have 50 pounds of peaches, I'm going to take it to, a smaller organization that's serving a smaller amount of people. If I have 2,000 pounds of corn, I'm going to take it to a larger organization. And so there's a lot of thought put into how it's distributed, and because it's a perishable food, it's very important to make sure that we're utilizing it correctly. So pit fruit will oftentimes be soft and it needs to be cooked. So we wouldn't just give that out to be eaten by hand. We would give it out to a kitchen. And so there's a lot of thought that goes into how we distribute, and that we're always working with our partners, to make sure that everybody's needs are being met and that we're all working together. So
there's our email
I think
address.
that's about it for
yeah, info@fifwb.org, resources, and if there's any questions.
Can I just go answer that question that's in the chat? Is that okay? I don't know what the forum is, if that's okay.
No worries. I was going to read it out loud, but I think that you can take it from here.
Okay. So seed shares. This is really exciting too. We have always done our seed share at a location. The past 4 years, it's been at the Source. If anybody's familiar with that, they actually have a small little community garden food forest.
That's normal.
And it's a really great organization. Huh? But this year, because of COVID, we couldn't and didn't want to do it in one location. So this year we are celebrating our 5th year, and we are going to do 3 days. And each day we will be at 3 different locations throughout the city. It's going to be epic. We are going to be giving away literally thousands of seeds to our community. It's going to be a drive-through event. We made a menu because we didn't want to just make packages and just give people packages. We did want to include choice as much as we can because that's important. And so there's a menu and folks can just drive right up, and it's no contact, it's COVID safe. And we have amazing community partners that are supporting us in this. So we're going to be all over the city, and we can email the event, or I don't know if Trista can copy and paste it into the chat here. And then all of the locations are listed inside the event. We're actually going to be at the Rio Grande Food Project on Saturday, I think. Saturday at 5, I believe. But it's really exciting. We had to be flexible, we had to be creative, and I cannot wait. I can't wait. I think the community is gonna love it, and we're gonna give away enough seeds to start hundreds and hundreds and hundreds this year. And we do really like collecting data, so I'm kind of excited just to see what is the potential for food growth for 100 packets of seeds. Like, what is that potential? And so I think there's going to be some really cool data that we'll be able to show and just really get excited about. Oh, Trista put the event in the chat because she's awesome. Thank you. So if anybody has any questions on that, feel free to let us know. Oh, and what organizations receive?
Oh, go ahead.
Huh?
No, go ahead, Erin. I just wanted to.
Oh, I didn't.
The wonders of technology. Just wanted to
it's fantastic.
Want to let you all know that this is being recorded, and we're going to put a video up of this program. Also, if anyone else has any follow-up questions, go to the reactions and click on this little, the clapping hand, and then Kathy will recognize you for any other questions. So. Oh man! Well, I guess our presenters did such a great job that no questions were left. I just want to add too that the reason we got to know a little bit about Food is Free is through the power of networking. Trista has been coming to these every other Thursday meetings on the coalition that helped create HB 207, that big bill that Judy and Jane were talking about. So networking is a very powerful tool, and so we certainly appreciate having connected with Trista and now Erin.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, same. This was great.
No questions?
I just have
Brenda.
I have 4 apple trees, a pear tree, 2. I have so many fruit trees. I had no idea what to do with the fruit. So I am definitely going to be calling you.
Call us.
Oh yeah, but I live in Corrales, but I think you're fine with Corrales, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. So yeah, I don't know what to do with it. I bring it to the Roadrunner, but it's like I can't reach the top of the trees, all that stuff. So this is wonderful. I really appreciate your dedication to getting all the food we can. It's excellent.
Absolutely.
Well, the other thing, Erin and Trista, I'm going to be sending you a note about having you, Food is Free Albuquerque, becoming endorsing organization of the NF8 Hunger Coalition, because we have 2 categories of endorsers: the faith communities and organizations. And Ari, the Rio Grande Food Project, is an endorser, and the Roadrunner Food endorser. So just wanted to let you know that we'll be getting a note from me pretty soon.
I will be glad to bring this information to our Environmental Stewardship Committee at La Mesa Presbyterian Church, the food pantry. And we also engage with the school and the city and East Central Ministries in a community garden. And I think this information will be very helpful.
This is Ari. I just wanted to tell you guys, Erin and Trista, you guys. Hello. Oh, that's my daughter, Iris. You guys are so amazing. Your energy is inspiring, and I can't thank you enough for all of the partnering you've done with the Food Project. It's such a joy to work with you, and thank you.
Right back at you. Thank you so much. Like, it's been so wonderful working with you guys.
Well, I guess we don't have any more questions. I just want to ask you to stay tuned for our April program, which likely will be an overview of what happened in the state legislature. You heard some right now. And then we have other projects that we're working, the Education Committee is working on. And so again, we certainly appreciate everyone being part of this, and we hope to see all you at all the other meetings coming up the rest of the year. It may be that by the end of the year, we might have some in-person meetings, but I think Zoom has been great to connect with folks. And so, any last comments from anyone before we end the meeting? Thank you so much for taking time this evening to be part of us.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.